The MCU has seen immensely powerful beings come and go, but who is really the most important character in the universe? The sacred timeline's anchor being could have been right in front of us all along. It can feel like a second job having to keep up with all of the lore and terminology the Marvel Cinematic Universe constantly throws out there, especially in the wake of the multiverse saga. And Deadpool and Wolverine dove headfirst into this arena, even introducing the concept of an anchor being. As described in the film, an anchor being is an entity that keeps their respective universe stable. They're the foundation for everything built on top of that specific reality. And in Earth 10005, where Deadpool and the X-Men hang out, Wolverine was that anchor. His death in Logan has caused Deadpool's timeline to begin to slowly decay. By the end of Deadpool and Wolverine, Wade has prevented the immediate destruction of his universe, allowing him to spend time with his loved ones until his inevitable team-up with the proper MCU. But this adventure begs the question, who is the anchor being within the sacred timeline, meaning Earth 616, where most of the MCU occurs? We'd like to posit a few suggestions with whatever evidence we can find, but this will mostly be pure speculation. Doctor Strange is definitely one of the most powerful Avengers, and one might easily assume his death could cause the fabric of Earth 616 to fall apart. He's mastered sorcery and has traversed various realities in 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
What's your universe like?
It's very beautiful.
However, the idea of him as the anchor being hasn't necessarily come from the movies themselves. There's a good chance Marvel Studios' head, Kevin Feige, gave him that title back in 2022, when Benedict Cumberbatch received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
You become the anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the only actor capable of guiding us through the madness of the multiverse.
That's right. Feige literally called Cumberbatch the anchor of the MCU several years before Deadpool and Wolverine would utilize the term anchor being. As the overseer of Marvel Studios, Feige undoubtedly knows what the roadmap is, so there's at least a small chance he planted that breadcrumb for people to catch on to right now. Spider-Man is arguably the most popular superhero ever, so it wouldn't be out of the question for the MCU to make Tom Holland's Peter Parker its anchor being. Despite not yet being old enough to drink, Peter Parker has already done quite a bit during his short tenure among superheroes. He's had his own trilogy and has appeared in most of the big team-up movies.
Nice job, kid.
Thanks. Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better.
He's even been directly linked to other realities, most notably in Spider-Man No Way Home. He's clearly an important figure who isn't going away anytime soon, but is that enough to make him the anchor being? There's even a precedent for Spidey holding this status in the comics. In 2022's Spider-Man #1, Peter Parker receives the designation of Chosen One, signifying his importance within the whole of Marvel. It's possible this could carry over into the films, with Tom Holland's iteration being crucial to the survival of his universe. It would certainly make for a heavy burden for a guy who'd probably like to just go to his classes once in a while. Spider-Man may be the all-around favorite superhero for many, but Iron Man was the face of the MCU for a decade. 2008's Iron Man is what kickstarted the cinematic universe experiment in the first place, and he ultimately helped save the world and universe, even though he's just a man in a fancy suit of armor. Now, Tony Stark is obviously very much dead, but that may actually lend credence to the idea he's the anchor being. It's not a shock to Marvel fans that the franchise's output has been a little hit and miss over the last few years. Even Deadpool says the MCU is at a low point right now. What if this shift in quality, as well as all of the disparate storylines within the franchise, are a result of Iron Man's death? It's been a few years at this point, so Earth 616 may have already begun to decay to an extent, possibly leading to an incursion that'll need to be dealt with in the upcoming Avengers films. Given her sheer power, Scarlet Witch also feels like a prime candidate to be Earth 616's anchor being. The Agatha All Along trailer seemingly confirmed that Wanda Maximoff died during the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Her death could have also thrown that universe out of whack, but there remains the question of her status as a Nexus being, and whether an individual can be both an anchor and a Nexus being, or if there's any differentiation to begin with. Nexus beings have popped up throughout Marvel Comics. These are powerful entities with a firm grasp on that universe's reality, with the power to even alter time. Scarlet Witch could be seen as a Nexus being within Earth 616, but is that different from an anchor being? Kevin Feige talked to Inverse about the concept, but kept things vague, saying, "The TVA uses the terminology of anchor beings and a being of great importance. Is that different than those other beings I've mentioned, or is it just a different terminology for the same thing? Remains to be seen. It's frustratingly unclear for the time being, but even if she's not an anchor, Scarlet Witch ultimately seems too powerful and popular to keep dead for long. Maybe Agatha All Along will present some kind of path forward for her to return and wreak further havoc on reality.
Mommy will be right back.
are getting into the weeds with this last one, but stick with us. The MCU hasn't featured Molecule Man yet, likely because he's so overpowered. As the name suggests, he can manipulate matter and reality. In Marvel Comics, Molecule Man takes his reality with him if he dies.
Last time Molecule Man came to town, he almost left with it too.
That sure sounds like an anchor being to us, and it's possible the character could get his day on the big screen in 2025's Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige has seemingly confirmed Fantastic Four could take place in a different reality from Earth 616, so there would need to be a different anchor from the sacred timeline. We know Galactus will be an antagonist in the film, but there could always be room for more than one foe. In fact, what if Molecule Man is that other reality's anchor being? His death could make it collapse, and this could cause the Fantastic Four to have to jump ship to another universe, likely Earth 616. The foursome could inform the Avengers about incursions and anchor beings, and they may have a lead in wanting to track down Earth 616's anchor, which could very well be a different Molecule Man. This is a pretty big leap, and even if the sacred timeline's anchor being isn't Molecule Man or any of the characters on this list, we'll likely find out soon enough as the multiverse saga barrels forward.